welcome to the Wisdom with Inner Elegance Roundtable Series. I'm Caroline Phipps, the founder of Living with Inner Elegance.
And I'm Deborah Kelly. I'm the executive director of the Wisdom House Retreat and Conference Center in Litchfield, Connecticut.
We're absolutely thrilled to have you here today, and having Deborah here in the podcast studio is really a wonderful thing. We've been a little while in the development of this program, Deborah.
Yes, we have. We met a couple of years ago, and from that moment I knew that there was a connection with Caroline and I, and we've been trying to work this out.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful thing. When I was invited to come and visit you all at Wisdom House, the wonderful Sister Rosemary, reached out to me and said, I'm loving the Inner Elegance work, and please come and visit Wisdom House. I remember driving in and thinking, oh, what a sanctuary, what a wonderful spot this is. The ground just feels sacred.
It is. It's a sacred space. It's a peaceful space. It has such a rich heritage from the Daughters of Wisdom there that it just inspires peace and love and wisdom and warmth. And so the day you came in, I just knew that there was a connection and there was something that you and I could do together.
And I love this idea that your space at Wisdom House is a place where people from everywhere and every faith and belief can come and congregate in that way, in conversation and contemplation.
Yes, and that was our goal. That is our mission. As an interfaith retreat and conference center, we welcome people of all faith, no faith, struggling with your faith, to come and find, connection and community and a place where you can learn and grow.
It's such a sacred and beautiful mission. And having this collaboration with you, Wisdom with the Inner Elegance, just feels like a sort of perfect fit.
It certainly does. It goes together.
And we're in interesting times, aren't we?
We are in very interesting, challenging, stressful. Yeah.
Yeah, how are people, how are you seeing people at the moment handling this sort of level of disruption and chaos that I think we're all feeling at the moment?
Yeah, and chaos is the word. I think chaos has taken over, it feels, in some of our lives. But the more people I talk to, the more people that I come in contact with there at Wisdom House, no matter what age, are feeling uncertainty, they're feeling anxiety, and expressing that they're literally scared that the world that they knew and the foundation and the bedrock that they felt was in place in this world is crumbling, and they just don't have stability. They don't have assurance of what's going to happen day to day. And that level of being scared, they say, is something that they've never experienced in their lifetime.
I think we could safely say that these are unprecedented times.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me that historical cycles tend to repeat and repeat and repeat. Mm-hmm. And empires rise and they fall.
Sure.
And we move forward and we're pulled backwards.
Right.
And on it goes. We're at peace, we're at war, all of this sort of back and forth and tugging going on. So I feel like today that it's not exactly the same old same historical playbook.
Sure.
The connectivity that we have around the globe, we can communicate now at the speed of light. Yes. So change is so rapid.
That's exactly
and I think
right.
That's one of the big challenges that we have at the moment.
I think so too. And I think people are seeing things, like you said, change so rapidly every day. It's like 1,000 things happen and about all of them. And it's like you said, it's happening so fast, we can't keep up with it. We can't keep up with the change. We can't keep up with all of the things that are just kind of going haywire, and yet we're being bombarded with it. alerts on our phone, alerts on the TV, the radio, everywhere we turn, newspapers, what's left of our newspapers. But it's those shock factor items that just feel as if they're being bombarded at us, and we don't know how to take all that in.
Well, I think, we still have brains and hearts and minds that are very human. Yes. And we're suddenly in a technological age where we've moved forward technologically, but we're still very much rooted in being tribal beings, yes, living our lives. So we've got this really weird dichotomy that's going on.
Yes. And I also feel the technology empowers people. I believe because of that technology, a lot of people who never really had a voice or had any power now all of a sudden can post, can do a podcast, can say whatever they want. And like you said, it goes around the world. There's really no way of knowing what the source or what is really, going on from the person who's just putting it out there.
It's also interesting, isn't it, that somebody can say, well, let's boycott this now. Yes. Let's come together to do that now.
Right.
So it can be used, I guess, just like everything can. It can be used for the greater good, for connectivity and advocacy. And then it can also be used as we know, the WMDs, the weapons of mass distraction, that are designed to flood the zone and make us feel, well, there's nothing we can do, we're powerless.
Right.
What can I do? It's inevitable. I think on the other side, there is a lot of sort of sense of the more we throw out there at people, the more they're going to feel this new way is so inevitable that there's nothing that can be done.
Agreed. And I just don't think we were designed to live in that type of fast-paced change in life. I think in our hearts and in our souls, we are designed to live in community, to live in being able to cohabitate and be together in peace and harmony. That is the design of the world.
Yes.
And yet, because of all of this, there's such upheaval and division and feeling the need to take sides instead of just looking at the person, whether at the grocery store or at the traffic stop or the library, and just seeing them as another human being with the same heart and soul. We've just divided our country, our world, into all of these different smaller communities, and you feel allegiance almost.
Right.
Instead of just, like you said, welcoming everyone and having that love and community with everyone.
I think that the sacred truth of it all, that the avatars, the great spiritual leaders, the scientists, they all agree that we are all connected and interconnected, we humans on this planet and our Earth.
Yes.
And that is the sacred truth. So I think when division is used to divide us up and pit us against one another,
yes,
it goes against the spiritual truth of the universe.
Exactly.
You can build a wall, but the sun is still going to shine on people equally, right? Either side of the wall.
Exactly. And the people on both sides of the wall. Same. What do they want in life? They want to get up and have a family and have peace and love and community.
Yes.
And I believe, that, unfortunately the division has caused that to supersede what the greater good could be.
Right. Maybe we could say today that we are in these chaotic times and we are in a situation of divide and conquer, right? Because we're already seeing that there are movements where millions of us are coming together to say, no, we don't like this.
Right.
So you always have an equal and an opposite force. You know, people will try to divide, and that's going to create more connectivity.
Sure.
And I feel that today's chaos has got, it's a catalyst for change, for sure.
That's for sure.
And what that change is going to look like is going to be up to us with every choice that we make. And I see that people globally, people outside of this country are coming together to say, we stand with, you know, the good people of America who we know want connectivity with us.
Right. Which is, again, you can attribute to our technology, the technology in our world today, that we can connect globally, whereas years ago, that couldn't have happened.
Right.
But you can have that connectivity because of the technology, and you can feel that support coming from all around the world.
Yeah.
But also, like you said, this is a time where we need to, you know, when we look back in history over the times in our history where people have stood up and said, no, we're going to do something. Something needs to change. This is a time for us to stand up and say, no, you know, we want something better for our world. We want something, yes.
I've noticed a very strong trend with younger people at the moment too, that they're not buying you need to get a job and you need to progress, and it at all costs. Competition is everything. Winning is everything.
Right.
Not win-win, but winning and losing.
Right.
And you need to accumulate and get stuff and climb up the ladder. I know a whole number of young people who are at school and university at the moment who are studying to be of service, who want to recycle clothes. They want to be careful about what they eat. They want to be of service. There's this kind of like sense of people, stuff isn't going to do it for me. You know,
I think now more than ever, young people want something to believe in. They want a cause to contribute to. They care about the environment.
Yeah.
They care about social justice. They care about people that are marginalized.
Right.
And not that don't have a voice.
Yeah.
You know, and I think they really want to invest their lives in that.
Yes.
Instead of climbing the corporate ladder, as you said, you know, in years past, which that was the goal.
Yeah.
I believe our young people today see a greater purpose for their life.
Yes. So this idea of chaos today, it's such a great opportunity for us. So I think that one of the things that you and I have sort of discussed quite a lot is that we need to be resilient at the moment. You know, we're being asked to step up.
Right.
I feel that very strongly. We're in a spiritual reckoning. And one of the things that is going to help us a lot to strengthen our resilience is our values and what do we value. All of a sudden, a whole number of things that we took for granted aren't there anymore, or aren't going to be there anymore.
Going to be there. Right. And those values that we built our lives on, and our parents and our grandparents now feel as if they are being stripped away. And there's that sense of helplessness.
Yeah.
There's a sense of fear and the anxiety, which impacts our mental health.
Yes.
And it's learning how to deal with that. Yeah. Because it's very easy. I know in my life especially, it's very easy just to go within.
Yeah.
And not know what to do. So you put up those walls and you kind of shut down because you don't know how to handle all of these things that are going on. But it's at that very moment that you need to connect with other people and say, I'm sure you're feeling somewhat of what I'm feeling. And there's somebody else across the street and somebody else down the road, you know, and can we get together and just bring those forces of good together to help us, number one, get through it.
Right.
You know, but in turn, help our community, help our world.
Yes. I think one of the things about resilience is, and it speaks to this point exactly, is that when we empower other people, they help to empower us.
Yes.
It's
Definitely.
like the idea of, a rising tide lifts all boats, right?
Right. Yes. Well, and I think it's that fear of loneliness as well. When you're lonely, your world becomes dark and it feels like things are caving in, and then you have the world changing.
Right.
And if you haven't reached out and you haven't shared that and you haven't built a community around you where you feel safe, it's going to be a dark time for you.
And I think that having that loneliness then becomes habitual. And then you have no trust, and then you are susceptible to thinking that everything out there is going to be, some kind of detrimental thing or a scary thing.
Right. And again, another way to divide everyone.
Yeah,
you're dividing, actually choosing yourself to step away.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know how to handle it.
Yes.
And that's just not a good place for our world to be.
No.
At the end of the day, as we've talked about, people are good. There's good in our hearts. There's good in our souls. We want good for our world. We want to make a difference and live in a peaceful society. And I think we just need to find that common ground.
Yeah, I think that's very, very true. And I'm seeing that so many people are feeling this way at the moment because it just doesn't feel right.
That's what it is.
To think, I'm going to be fine, but never mind about those people over there because they're just those people. There are too many of us who have sort of moved beyond that just survivalist thinking. I'm all right, Jack,
Right. No, I think it has opened our eyes. I know for myself, it has opened my eyes to not just what's going on in Litchfield, not just what's going on in Connecticut, not just what's going on in this small corner.
Yeah.
We're such a minute part of this entire, huge world. But we need to be involved in what's going on everywhere.
Yes.
And how can we do that?
Yeah.
We feel so helpless.
Yeah.
And that's very easy to fall into that helplessness of, this is such a huge problem.
Yeah.
There's no way, what can I do about it?
Right.
But there is something we can do.
Yes.
And if it's just encouraging your neighbor,
right.
if it's just being a bright light in someone's life, to say, I care.
Yes.
You're doing something to help.
Yes. One of the things I think that's so interesting at the moment is that we are sort of being asked to believe that we're just not powerful. Now, to my mind, we are all built in the image of God.
Yes.
So then I think to myself, well, how can that mean that we're not powerful? Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
So we all have a light that we can bring to the world, and every minute of every day, we can focus on what we're thinking about, and when those negative thoughts show up, kind of like shuffle them away and ask for some, give me some juice here, to navigate that. I have this horrible thought in my head that's really exhausting me right now. So then we can start to change the way we think about things. And sometimes I think that if you shift to some sacred language,
definitely,
the vocabulary that we use is so interesting. One of the things that I work on with people to create some resilience is when you have a bad day, what are the words that go around in your head? And I watch this with myself. I can think, worst day ever. It's like, really?
Exactly.
Really?
Right.
Yes. This day is presenting me with some challenges that I need to navigate. And it's actually asking me to step up and do that well.
Right. I believe it's about perspective.
Right.
It really is. And we have to keep our perspective, intact, in line. And it can become that way.
Yeah.
But again, it's our mind. It's that controlling those things that are, those thoughts, those words that are in our mind that are telling us you can't do anything. It's been an awful, no, it's perspective. Okay. It was a challenging day. It didn't go the way I'd like for it to go.
Right. But I did my best.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think looking inward and saying, okay, what can I do tomorrow? to make it a better day.
Yes.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Am I going to live in this guilt or fear or failure, that it was, what did I do today?
Yeah.
Or am I going to get up tomorrow and say, you know what, I've got another day. I've got 24 hours.
Look at that.
And it's a gift.
Yeah, it's
and
a
I
gift.
just don't think we see every day as a gift because life changes so quickly.
Yeah, I think that's very, very true. And one thing I think about today, because we are living in this incredible time of transformation.
Yes.
So we're either going to be a part of the problem, or we're going to be a part of the co-creating the kind of world that we would like. Every single choice that we make impacts the collective. Now imagine there are a lot of people on this planet. And if more and more of us are able to send out that ripple effect of decency and kindness, that is going to be more powerful than any divisive dark force, is my belief.
Definitely.
We are really powerful.
Well, and I love that term ripple effect because that's exactly what it is. When you do something, it encourages someone else to do something.
Yeah.
Even a simple smile. If someone smiles at me, you can't not smile back
Right,
unless you think about it in your head.
Yeah.
But your body just wants to smile back.
Yes.
Unless you tell yourself not to.
Yes.
And so it is that ripple effect.
Yeah.
You've made someone smile today.
Yeah.
Just by, you didn't even have to say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we don't know, what that might have done for that person.
Right.
Held the door for someone.
Yeah.
Greeted them.
Yes.
What can we do? And it's that perspective. And I think it's focusing on that. Okay, the world problems are gigantic right now.
Sure.
And what am I, doing?
Who am I?
Exactly. Who am I?
Yeah.
But I can do something.
Yes.
And we have to think about that. And then coming together, as you said,
Yeah.
all of us are powerful
Right.
when we come together with that energy.
Yeah. Phenomenally so. And this, I think, is one of the things that you and I are going to be working on with this roundtable series is that sense of the power of connectivity and coming together. I mean, it feels bad biologically, doesn't it, when we're unkind or nasty? When, we all have a short fuse.
Yes.
And there are times when, we might snap at somebody or, just not be very nice. And then it's like, oh, that didn't feel very good.
Exactly.
Did it?
Right.
And that just adds to the collective unease and discontent and misery. So we have a mission.
We do have a mission. And we do have a mission. And we have to have a change of vision, when looking at the world, just a change of looking at people and looking at situations and realizing that, people are trying their best.
Right.
We don't need to be divided. There doesn't need to be this, because you don't do this, and this.
Right.
We can't have a relationship, or I can't smile at you, or, I think we just have to understand. I don't know. I just wish we could all see ourselves, I believe, like you said, in the image that God created us to be.
Right.
And really value and cherish one another despite our differences.
Yes.
I don't think there's ever been a time in our world where we've allowed our differences to cause such great divide between us.
Yes.
And that's sad.
Yes.
It's sad. Families are divided.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Which is, I mean, really.
How did that happen?
Yeah. So we have a fantastic mission.
Yes.
And we are going to be working on empowering ourselves, coming together, working on co-creating the kind of world that we want.
Yes.
I think it's going to be absolutely thrilling to be doing this.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's just wonderful.
It is wonderful. It's a great partnership. I believe we have a shared vision, shared energy about what we see for our world. And we just want to make the world a better place. And we want to help others who are struggling. Obviously, we struggle. It's not like
Exactly.
we're not struggling.
Yeah, we're human too.
Right.
Boy.
But we all have a voice, and we want to be able to share that voice, and allow you to take some of those layers away of defensive,ness or fear or anxiety, and let some of those walls down and talk about them.
Yeah, sure.
And realize you're not the only one.
Yeah, we're
Don't
not
feel like you're the
alone.
only one feeling that way. A lot of us have that.
Yeah.
And I believe in the way relationships and society works. When you're having a good day, I might be having a bad day.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways. And so we're there to uplift and encourage one another,
Yes.
in any way we can.
Well, I have to say, Deborah, that you always uplift and care for me.
Thank you.
You are a wonderful presence in my life, and Wisdom House is an even bigger and more wonderful presence in my life. I feel so honored and delighted to be collaborating with you.
Well, thank you, Caroline. And the feeling is mutual. You are very encouraging. You do uplift. You do encourage. Your emails are always sent with, I can just feel the kindness and the love that comes through, that you really care. And so I appreciate that. And I am honored as well to have this opportunity to work with you on something, we've been trying this for a while, but as you and I talked about, I believe now is the time.
Yes.
And maybe it got delayed because now is the time.
Now is the time.
That it really needs to be heard.
Yes.
And so I'm just so grateful for this opportunity.
And I'm delighted that I'm going to be coming to Wisdom House, I think.
Yes,
to do a workshop for folks.
Yes. We've invited Caroline to come, and not only Caroline is going to come and join us at Wisdom House, and you're going to get to meet her in person, and you're going to get to hear from her directly. We'll do a Q&A. We'll have a time of discussion, and we'll get to have just a wonderful time together there at Wisdom House.
Such a thrill. So, Deborah, let everybody know how to communicate directly with Wisdom House and maybe get on your mailing list and communicate with you.
Yeah, so our website is wisdomhouse.org. You can email me, Deborah, at wisdomhouse.org. And if you go onto our website, you can sign up for our newsletter, and you will get all of the upcoming programs and events. And we'll make sure that you'll see the calendar that has the program that Caroline will be hosting at Wisdom House, and you'll be able to sign up there right on our website.
Thank you for joining us today, the Wisdom with Inner Elegance Roundtable Series. So happy to have had Deborah here in the podcast studio. For more Living with Inner Elegance, please go to CarolinePhipps.com. We have articles, podcasts, videos, anything you might need to help you live a life of more inner elegance. Thank you guys for joining us. Absolutely thrilled.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.